We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. We unpack. First the Fat Boys break up. And hey, day I wake up. Man, oh man. I try to tell y'all. Y'all didn't want to listen. You guys seen the title. You clicked it. Oscar de la Hoya, he seems to be putting up an obstacle, a roadblock in Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. What Oscar de la Hoya had to say, I do believe he makes a strong case, right? What he had to say has led a lot of people to believe that the fight is in jeopardy in February, Riyadh season. We're going to get unpacked. Let your boy Ego unpack this whole nonsense. The nonsense. Let me get set up real quick and let's get unpacked. All right, so this is what Oscar de la Hoya said on Clapback Thursdays. Roll the clip.
In other news, Shakur Stevenson versus William Sepeda was all set to happen until William injured his hand while fighting Tevin Farmer last weekend. So you would naturally think Shakur would start targeting, I don't know, a Frank Martin or a Murataya, some other world champion, right? No. Shakur and Lonesome Eddie made an offer to my 22-year-old prospect, Kid Austin, who has no world championship experience.
Come on, man.
This is exactly what I mean when I say Eddie doesn't know how to build a career. Look, Bob Arum built Shakur Stevenson to become a world champion. And in his first fight with Matchroom, you actually want to put him in with a prospect, Eddie?
Come on now, dog.
I didn't think it could get any lower for you, but it does.
Wow. So, as you guys can hear, I don't even have to provide much commentary. But this sounds like fear. Fear makes people do crazy things. And this sounds like fear from Oscar de la Hoya. So I will break it down because we're getting unpacked. Oscar, for the record, he has since deleted this Clapback Thursday. For the first time ever, some of the stuff that he said, I don't know. The feedback must have been so horrible because he decided to delete it. And then he tried to laugh about it on his story and said, oh, the truth hurts. So that's why I had to take it down. But I believe that because I was seeing in the comment section, there was a lot of negative feedback because he's the promoter of Floyd Schofield. And this doesn't make him look good, seeing how the world has been primed for Shakur versus Floyd Schofield with William Sepeda being absent. And I told you guys, y'all didn't want to listen, but let's listen again to what he said.
In other news, Shakur Stevenson versus William Sepeda was all set to happen until William injured his hand while fighting Tevin Farmer.
That's a duck. I try to tell you, some of y'all got mad. To me, William Sepeda ducked. Y'all can believe this whole injury, and he's so injured he won't be able to make it. The bottom line is this. Sepeda never sounded as confident as Shakur Stevenson. They were asking him post-fight after Tevin Farmer. And here's the thing, people. First of all, some people are like, come on, man, Ego, he was injured. Let's unpack this, right? You're not going to insult my intelligence, right? So, couple things, and pay attention. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. For starters, he fought Tevin Farmer. He really lost, and he got dropped. They gave him the victory, said he won on a Golden Boy card on Latino night in Saudi Arabia. They said Zepeda won. A Mexican Latino fighter on Latino nights, and he's the one actually promoted by Golden Boy. What a coincidence. They asked him post-fight about Shakur. He did not sound confident at all. My question to you is this, because there's some people saying, oh, man, injuries happen. How come William Zepeda, when he was asked directly after the fight, you guys can go watch dazn and watch the highlights and watch the post-fight interview when they're talking to William Zepeda. He had just finished fighting Tevin Farmer. They asked him directly, hey, the world wants to see you fight Shakur because that was the talk that you were going to fight Shakur Stevenson next. And then guess what? He didn't mention one thing about being injured. This didn't come out until weeks after the Tevin Farmer fight. So if you just fought a man and you knew that your hand, your arm, or you picked up some injury and they're asking you, why didn't you say that? Just think. Like, I know if I picked up an injury and somebody say, hey, what's good with you and Shakur in February? I'll be like, I don't know because I just picked up an injury. So I don't think I'm going to be able to fight in February, but we'll see what the doctor says. He didn't say nothing about an injury until he had time to regroup and get with his team, and then they could come up with something. So let's be real. What De La Hoya is saying, he was like, oh, the fight was all signed, sealed, and delivered. Zepeda never sounded confident in fighting Shakur Stevenson. It was always kind of like, oh, iffy, I'm focused on Tevin Farmer, etc.
Last weekend. So you would naturally think Shakur would start targeting, I don't know, a Frank Martin or a Murataya, some other world champion, right?
Okay. The fear is seeping from De La Hoya's pores. He said, Zepeda out. I've already went over that. That's a duck. I don't care what y'all talking about. Zepeda ducked. We knew that. I predicted that. And that's the other thing. Some people are like, come on, it's an injury, ego. These things happen. Why was it so easy for me to forecast and predict that this was going to happen before it happened? So it's all too coincidental. It's all too convenient. I was able to predict this too. I digress. Let's keep it going. So we know Zepeda was out the picture. He ducked. Boom. Get him out of here. De La Hoya said you would think with Zepeda out that he would fight Frank Martin or Murataya, a PBC fighter and a top-ranked fighter. What? You don't manage Murataya's career and you don't manage Frank Martin's career, so Oscar sounds foolish right here. In addition, because I'm the best in the business and it's not even close and I make this look easy, let me add insult to injury. Frank Martin is coming off a knockout loss. This man just said, how come he's not targeting other champions? How is he a champion if he just came off a knockout loss at 135? Strike one. Strike two, Frank Martin already revealed that he's moving to 140. So we know you didn't think this clap back Thursday. You didn't think it through because this is not making sense. Martin's moving to 140. He's already stated that 135 was too hard to make. He came off a knockout loss to Tank, and he's going to start in a new weight class. So the fact that Oscar is trying to deflect and find somebody else is not looking good, brother. You're bringing up Frank Martin again. He's moving to 140, and he's coming off a knockout injury, and you're saying champions. Murataya is not a champion as well. I'm talking about with a real belt.
World champion, right? No other world champion, right? Some other world champion, right? No. Shakur and Lonesome Eddie made an offer to my 22-year-old prospect.
You see, you said Shakur and Lonesome Eddie. You know you done effed up. You done effed up, right? You know you done messed up. Oscar, you said that Eddie Hearn and Shakur sent an offer to your 22-year-old prospect. You done messed up, right? You know you done effed up. You know you done effed up. So De La Hoya is now on wax, even though he deleted it. I got a copy of it. I'm letting you listen to it. I preserved it. The delete, once you put on the internet, is forever. There ain't no delete. You come delete it off my computer because I got it right now, and I'm letting you listen to it. So the other thing, you done messed up. You done messed up. You are confirming what Eddie Hearn already told the public, that they made an offer to fight Floyd Schofield. Now you're bringing up his age. Oh, it's looking bad.
To my 22-year-old, Eddie made an offer to my 20.
So he's on wax saying the offer was made from Shakur's side, which is now currently Eddie Hearn, his current promoter right now, after being a free agent and leaving Top Rank.
Shakur and Lonesome Eddie made an offer to my 22-year-old prospect, Kid Austin, who
Nobody's trying to hear that. The amount that Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield, and his daddy talk, nobody cares about his age. They're saying they'll take Tank's head off. They're saying they'll stop Shakur Stevenson. They're saying Devin Haney ain't got no chin. They're saying they will beat top-level guys. The 22, that's out the window. Iron Mike Tyson, he was like 20, 21 years old when he beat Trevor Berbick. Nobody's trying to hear this. You're making your fighter look bad, and I'm going to make you look bad.
has no world championship experience.
Bro, this sounds like fear. This is your own fighter. And you're saying he's 22, like we supposed to feel sorry for him. And you're saying he's only a wee but 22, and he has no world level experience, blah, 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 world championship experience.
He made an offer to my 22-year-old prospect, Kid Austin, who has no world championship experience.
Come on, man.
This is exactly what I mean when I say Eddie doesn't know how to build a career. Look, Bob Arum built Shakur Stevenson to become a world champion. And in his first fight with Matthew, you actually want to put him in with a prospect, Eddie?
He said, and he's making it sound like Eddie Hearn is tripping here because he's trying to put a fight that the fans said they wanted to see. Me, I already knew. The complications with this, so I never really got excited. And I think there are stages to developing a fighter. So I can agree to Eddie Hearn right there, or I can agree with what Oscar is saying in that department. But it don't matter when your fighter is talking trash and he's the one calling out Shakur, which we'll get back to.
Come on now, dog.
I didn't think it could get any lower for you, but it does.
This is bad, bro.
Built Shakur Stevenson to become a world champion. And in his first fight with Matthew, you actually want to put him in with a prospect, Eddie?
Oscar does not realize how bad he just made his fighter look. He made his fighter look real bad with this. This is probably why he had to delete it. You know, I'm not the smartest brother in the world, but this is probably the reason. You're making your fighter look very bad. And here's the thing is Shakur Stevenson. See, here's the reality of it. I told you I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. Shakur Stevenson, he does certain things that have irritated people. But on my channel, I don't care about none of that. I care about the truth. I care about what's right and what's wrong. That's it. It doesn't matter who's telling the truth. The truth will always be spoken. That's me. The reality is people want to say, oh, Shakur's boring. Oh, Shakur needs a big name. Tank will knock him out. He's a runner. He's a track star. I don't care about none of that. In this case, with Floyd Schofield, Shakur does not look bad. I hope you guys understand this. Shakur does not look bad. Golden Boy and its roster are looking terrible because for weeks, maybe even months, we were hearing about Sepeda was ready for the Shakur challenge. He barely gets past Tevin Farmer, gets dropped. Tevin Farmer's not even a big puncher, and Tevin Farmer arguably beats him, gives him all he can handle. Now, for the first time, Would a quick hit. His arm is in a sling. He taking pictures in a sling. All of a sudden, he's injured. I'm not going to be able to fight Shakur Stevenson. I had to go to the doctor. He right here with it. The plane boss. Now his arm is in a sling. What is going on? So that was the first strike against Golden Boy. And I don't care what y'all say, that's a duck. I've already went over that. So get Sepeda out of here. Then Floyd Schofield calls out Shakur Stevenson. You're trying to flip it. Ninja's talking ish. I just flip it on you. Sorry, Lance. I'm just trying to advance my quotes. I ain't making you the butt of my joke. Nope. Hold on. You're trying to flip it on you. Now you're blaming Eddie Hearn and Shakur Stevenson. Oh, in your first fight with Matchroom, you want to fight a 22-year-old prospect with no world championship experience. Bro, we are not listening to that. We don't want to hear it. This is not an Eddie Hearn problem. He just started working with Shakur. Shakur is at a certain point of his career. Shakur feels he could beat anybody. Eddie Hearn is working with Turkey to try to build and stack this card in February 22nd, 2025. And your first guy is out. So listen to what Oscar is saying. I promise you, I'm about to catch a body. This is real easy, man. He said at the beginning, listen.
In other news, Shakur Stevenson versus William Sepeda was all set to happen until William injured his hand while fighting Tevin Farmer last weekend.
See, there you go with the sling. He said that William Sepeda and Shakur Stevenson, it was a green light on the fight, and it was all set to happen until he got injured, right? This is showing the fear. He just told you that. He said Sepeda Shakur was already set to happen, but he got injured.
William Sepeda was all set to happen until William injured his hand while fighting Tevin Farmer last weekend.
But then when it comes to Schofield, you're saying he don't have no world championship level performances. Neither does Sepeda. Sepeda ain't fought no world champion.
2-year-old prospect, Kid Austin, who has no world championship experience.
Come on, man.
So what are we talking about? Zepeda's resume is not stacked. So you were okay allegedly making the Sepeda fight, right? With no world level. Yeah, he's older. He's 28, but he still ain't fought nobody. And then he finally fought someone in Tevin Farmer, who's 34 and had tons of inactivity for portions of his career, and he's cross-eyed, so I don't know if that impacts his like his vision or anything, and he's dropping Sepeda. And here's the thing. Here's another Golden Boy similarity. Sepeda got dropped, and so did Floyd Schofield. So both Golden Boy prospects, because Sepeda, that's pretty much what he is. Sepeda was touted, but he hasn't really done anything. Tevin Farmer was supposed to be a test to show where he really was at, and he failed it. So they both got dropped in their very last fight, and now you're making excuses for why Floyd Schofield shouldn't happen. And the other thing that makes this look insanely bad is, like I said, he's throwing it on Eddie Hearn and saying, oh, man, this looks bad. Eddie doesn't know what he's doing.
Look, Bob Arum built Shakur Stevenson to become a world champion. And in his first fight with Matchroom,
and it's funny, look at what they do to black fighters. They just showed Shakur Stevenson in traffic moving laterally, and they put the Roadrunner beep beep noises behind him to show that he's running. But it's your company and your fighters that's running from him. Isn't that funny? And here's the thing. I will say this. Floyd Schofield and his dad, I think it's possible that they truly want to fight Shakur Stevenson. They've been in the ring with him. They sparred him. They could have full belief in the belief system that they could beat Shakur. So this is not really an indication or indignation on them more than it is Golden Boy. But it's funny, you put the black fighter and you show a clip of him moving laterally and you put Roadrunner noises to make him look chicken and meet and beat, but you're the one protecting your fighters, putting them in the WITSEC and not allowing them to fight the runner, which is very ironic. And then on top of that, you're blaming Eddie Hearn because he's willing to put Shakur in his first fight with Matchroom, right, against a 22-year-old prospect. But this 22-year-old prospect says he's ready. This 22-year-old prospect called out Shakur. He said, I'll fill in for Sepeda. So you need to check your own fighter. That's not, he's the one that's talking. He's the one saying they could beat Tank by stoppage and Tank's getting old and Shakur will get knocked out and Devin is chinless. So what are we talking about? I see why Oscar deleted this. This looks terrible. This looks terrible. You're not going to blame Eddie Hearn for this.
You actually want to put him in with a prospect, Eddie?
You actually want to put him in with the prospect, Eddie. You're throwing the blame on Eddie Hearn and Shakur. And again, on my channel, I always fight for what's right. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it's the truth. Shakur said he would fight Sepeda coming off of an injury and inactivity. He was supposed to fight Joe Cordina. It didn't happen. You're trying to make Eddie Hearn and Shakur look bad, but to be honest, this makes Shakur look raw that he's willing to forego a tune-up fight and for his first fight with Eddie Hearn, fight an undefeated Golden Boy fighter, either Sepeda or Schofield. So you've completely bombed on open mic night. You're trying to get cute with these clapback Thursdays, but then it backfired, which is probably why you had to delete it, right? Because you try to make Shakur and Eddie look bad in this instance, but it was your own fighter who actually looks bad. Why would we feel sorrow or remorse or feel a type of way because your fighter's 22 with no world title fights? That's on y'all. That's how y'all marketed him. David Benavidez has been calling out top guys. He was 21, 22. He was a champion. So it's like, what are we talking about? Mike Tyson, he's another person that was a young champion, right? So I don't believe in that. You talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. What also makes Oscar look terrible, insanely terrible here is, again, he's filling these clapback Thursdays, but I tell you the most dangerous thing is a camera and a microphone. What he fails to mention or maybe even remember,
no, it's the fight,
is De La Hoya previously did one of the clapback Thursdays, right? He did a clapback Thursday where I'm just going to let you listen to it. I ain't even got to talk about it. I don't even know I'm on this track. I'm going to let the Outlaws ride on you. Okay. Here we go. So this is the previous Oscar De La Hoya clapback Thursday, right? And let's take a listen to what Oscar had to say.
No, it's the fighters. I was one, and I can tell you that if my camp urged me to fight someone and I wanted to fight somebody else, we were going to fight who I wanted.
Boom. So Oscar was saying boxing is dead, and he put the sole blame on the fighters, saying if the fighters really want it, they need to go after it, right? If the fighters really wanted to fight, he said, if my team wanted me to fight somebody else, but I didn't want that, we're fighting who I say. Let's listen again.
No, it's the fighters. I was one, and I can tell you that if my camp urged me to fight someone and I wanted to fight somebody else, We were going to fight who I wanted.
So now he's contradicting himself. Okay, I told you I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. Now I've showed you how Oscar De La Hoya has completely contradicted his own statement. You're holding Floyd Schofield back. That's what it sounds like. But previously, you were saying that boxing is dying because basically fighters are ducking and they're not going after the tough challenges. You gotta pick a side and keep it there. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So when it comes to this situation, Shakur is definitely in the right, and this looks bad, very bad for Floyd Schofield. Shakur, he got on social media and he's talking his talk, as he should. Shakur says, Oscar De La Protection Program, and I never called on that little dude to fight. That dude said my name over and over until I couldn't take it no more and had to check these soft ninjas' temperature. Auntie Sco and Lil Sco, don't ever mention my name again. You're welcome for the free publicity. Go ahead, Shakur Stevenson. You've earned that. Talk your talk. Talk your talk. This looks bad. Listen, if this fight does not happen next, this is going to look very bad from Golden Boy. Now, Schofield, he did, again, it's not even an issue if Schofield really wants to fight Shakur. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say they truly want to make the fight. Hold that thought, because I'm going to read this and then I'll get back to my diatribe. They said, this is a message from Oscar De La Hoya. It's on, Shakur Stevenson. You can't running from this. So, in poor grammar, you can't running from this. And the new, we accept the challenge. And they show some kind of personal text message. It says, my man, I seriously believe in your son so much and have love for him, but he's 22. And I know how to make a champion for the next 15 years, not run the risk of getting beat because he had no experience. If you're telling me make it happen, then I will. Happy Thanksgiving and have a blessed day. So you can tell they're trying to post this as like receipts. Oscar De La Hoya sounds concerned even in this text that they leaked, right? He keeps talking about he's 22. Bro, we don't care about his age. Get over it. He's the age he is. And he's like, I know how to make champions. This sounds like promoter talk. And he says, if you're telling me to make it happen, then I will. So to me, this is stipulating that he don't really want to fight. He just told you he's 20. It says, but he's 22. And I know how to make a champion for the next 15 years, not run the risk of getting beat. Why would you say that? Like, you never heard Roger Mayweather say, why should we fight Guerrero and run the risk of getting beat before Floyd gets a Pacquiao fight? You don't hear that because they have the Roger, rest in peace. He had the utmost confidence in nephew Floyd that he would get the job done no matter who was in front of him. So you never heard this talk. So this sounds like pure fear. Again, I'm going to put this where it belongs, and this is a Golden Boy issue. I'm not, the Schofields, the way they're moving, I guess how you should if you really believe you can win. They're going on Twitter saying, oh, the fight's still on, the fight's on. But not necessarily, because one thing Oscar said, and I told you to remember what I was saying, because I certainly have, but Oscar was like, if my team wanted me to fight this person and I wanted to fight somebody else, then I'm going to veto my team and we're going to fight who I say. The big difference is Oscar was an Olympic gold medalist and he had an immaculate, illustrious resume, and he had beat Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. So Oscar De La Hoya had became a cash cow. So he did get to a point where he was able to, as the A side, call these shots. The difference is Schofield ain't fought no Julio Cesar Chavez. He ain't fought Gotti's and, Felix Sturms and all these guys that De La Hoya put in work with in his career in order to become the man. So you have a boss. And it's so funny because if you look at my last video about this subject, this was before Clapback Thursday was even released. And I told you all of these problems. I am truly a gift to this game of boxing, the best that's ever lived in the digital space of covering boxing. I keep forecasting what is to happen, and then it happens. The video was uploaded and recorded before this ever even came out. And I said, I have doubts about Shakur and Floyd Schofield actually happening. I also said in many past videos regarding this topic, this is why you don't negotiate in the public. You increase and heighten the likelihood the fight doesn't happen. That's one issue. You potentially drag the fans along for no real reason. There's no benefit to have the fans' input before the fight is actually delivered, right? So the fans end up getting blue balls, and the fans end up getting disappointed if fights don't happen when you've primed the fans and made the fans believe that the fight was going to happen. You see? So nothing good really comes from negotiating boxing before you have a contract signed, sealed, and delivered. That's why you should zip it, shut up until the fight is ready. Also, it makes a team, sometimes both teams, people start pointing the fingers, pin the tail on the donkey, and then now you have the blame game, which I also predicted in my last video. I predicted this ish into apocalypse, and for once I was down with it. Felt good in the hood being around them ninjas. And for the first time, everybody let go, and the streets was death row. I wonder if heaven got a ghetto. I predicted it. The works are up. I'm like Basquiat. The works of art, they're all on my channel, all the breadcrumbs. You don't have to take my word for it. Go watch my old videos. I'm saying these things. So now we're in this position. By the time you guys watch this video, who knows? There might be more information that comes out. But there's a lot of low quality content in boxing. Bad audio, bad visuals, a lack of knowledge. It's really a void, and I'm feeling that. So if you guys like that, subscribe to the channel. It's just a lot of bad actors in the sport of boxing, people who weigh in with their opinion. But here's the thing. You guys can go listen. There's going to be a lot of people who all of a sudden, they knew this. This is how boxing works. I've been in the game so long. You're going to have so many people that if this fight falls apart, then they're going to act like they knew all along. But it was the same content creators who told you this fight was happening. Some people were saying it was going to happen in Saudi Arabia. Some people said it's going to happen at a separate date. I've seen a lot of comments where people were saying all kinds of stuff. But as it sits right now, if this fight doesn't happen, this is going to bring shame to Golden Boy, because you have De La Hoya completely contradicting himself, saying boxing is dead, blaming the fighters, saying if they really want the fight, then they need to go after it and make the fights. But then you also have De La Hoya hedging his bets as a promoter. He's doing stuff that he didn't do in his boxing career, right? Because as a boxer, Oscar's career, he fought everybody. Floyd, Pacquiao, Hopkins, everybody. Shane Mosley twice, Felix Sturm, Tito Trinidad, right? He fought everybody. He needed 2 fights with Julio Cesar Chavez, but he's not keeping that same energy now that he's a promoter. And the same thing happened with Ryan Garcia. I told you that from the beginning. I truly believe, deep down in my soul, I believe this. I believe that Ryan insisted on the Tank fight. Golden Boy didn't really want to make it. Not at the time, 2023. But Ryan was too pushy, and it got to a point where he was like not settling, and he really pushed for that. So you got to give credit to Ryan Garcia. I don't even know if Golden Boy truly wanted the Devin Haney fight for Ryan Garcia. And now history repeats itself. Sepeda, they're like, nah, we're going to say you injured. You know, get some minor surgery that all fighters can get. You know, people have little micro scar tissue or something you can clean up and then put a sling on, and then you back to normal. You're coming off a bad Tevin Farmer performance. We're not putting you in there with Shakur. So we need a patsy. We need an excuse. And now the Schofields, they raise their hand and say, yo, we want that assignment. We're ready. Please believe in us. And it don't sound like Golden Boy truly wants to do. Now, you know, if the fight happens, we'll see. I'm not even going to speculate at this point. But if it doesn't happen, oh, you're going to hear from me. You guys are going to face the wrath on the channel because I've told you all of these concepts and now you're seeing it. And again, there's a lot of Shakur hate. I'm not blaming Shakur. Why would I blame Shakur? Even the text from Schofield, this don't look good. It says, man, I seriously believe in your son so much and have love for him. But the fact that you said but tells me everything that I need to know. But he's 22. Because if you really had love for him and if you really believed in him, then there's no but to it. If you really thought your fighter was ready and would beat Shakur, there's no but. Put him in there. That's why I said it's going to look bad for De La Hoya. It's going to look bad for Golden Boy. And, you know, through collateral damage, it will look bad on the Schofields. They got dropped in their last fight, and then they barked up a tree, and then they daddy, you know, Golden Boy wouldn't allow them to take the fight. So they got in the way, and that's what these fighters need to understand. You got to get with the team that really believes in you and is going to let you rock in these situations, because that's how greatness sometimes is realized. I'll give you a couple examples. Manny Pacquiao, he fought this African dude. He passed away now. His name was Ledwaba. That was late terms. He wasn't supposed to fight Ledwaba, but he fought him. I believe it was on HBO, and he fought him. And that was like almost like the beginning of Pacquiao, where people in the States started paying attention to Pacquiao. So had he not took that opportunity, and I'm sure he had people in his ear like, don't do that. But Pacquiao knew he was ready, and then, you know, became a legend. Terrence Crawford. He wasn't advised. I think it was Cameron Duncan, who also passed, rest in peace. Cameron Duncan was his advisor at the time, and Bradis Prescott knocked out Amir Khan brutally. He would have to move up and wait with like 2 weeks to prepare. So Crawford was advised not to fight Bradis Prescott because of, this was before the Gamboa fight. This was when no one knew who Crawford was like that. You dig? So it wasn't a good idea, his advisor thought, to fight a more experienced puncher like Bradis Prescott. Crawford said, I'm Terrence Crawford, I'm Bud, bumped that, got the fight, dominated Bradis Prescott, and that's when a lot of people started checking for Crawford. And then it just kept happening. You just kept seeing more and more of him. Then he got the Gamboa, and then, you know, Crawford is Crawford now. So you got to take risk in boxing. And even when people doubt you, like the Schofields, you know, to their credit, like I said, I think they really want to fight Shakur and they think they'll stop him. But it doesn't matter. All that talk don't matter if you're not afforded the opportunity and you can't convince your own promoter who you're contracted. It's a legally binding contract. They gotta believe like your daddy believe. You know what I mean? So we'll see if the Schofields can actually convince Golden Boy to believe in him. But I truly believe that Golden Boy doesn't really want to make the fight. Money talks. Maybe they can, Turkey can, shoot some money their way, or the Schofields can convince Golden Boy. But this is a L. This is a L, and the L will grow bigger depending on the outcome and this fight. But so far it's looking a bit rocky. I ain't talking about Boa. We unpacked.